going on? Welcome back to the No Clue Podcast, episode 180. We are back. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Mike.
I'm Tyler. Welcome.
We have a finals.
Yes, finals are finally here, man. What a season, by the way. I thought it was a really good season. Aside from the injuries,
I feel like that's been a thing, though. Injuries is like a every year thing.
it is. I think. Well, so many preseason contenders were plagued by injuries. I think, like throughout the season, not so much at the end, but throughout the season. Well, we'll get into it in a second about the playoffs, but we didn't see Kawhi at all this season. Anthony Davis, we saw very, very limited this season. Obviously the Nets were in and out the whole season. Embiid had some issues this season. Jimmy Butler had issues this season. So, but we're here. We're finally here. Let's get into it, man. His last series.
I believe last time we went, it was right after Game 4.
Yes. Yep. Because we predicted the last 3 games. You predicted super on
very
point.
accurately, yes. And you know why that is? I think I'm not gonna it wasn't really like a prediction that I was making out of me knowing the game better or anything like that. I counted on these teams' deficiencies costing them games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we saw it the whole series and it never stopped.
Yeah, you're right.
And what's worse about both of these two teams, I think we agreed coming in that they're pretty much the 2 best teams in the East.
Yeah.
At least,
for sure.
Considering how if Middleton was healthy, it would be a little different.
Yeah.
But these were the 2 best teams coming down the stretch, and all their deficiencies are by choice.
Yeah.
That's what kills me about both of these teams.
Yeah.
And you saw how close the series was.
Yeah.
Many boneheaded issues that could have cost both teams.
It wouldn't have went to 7 if it wasn't an even, pretty even matchup.
So do you want to go game by game?
Quickly on game 5 and 6, and then we'll go over 7 in more detail.
I thought a lot of people accurately thought the series was over after game 5.
Mm-hmm.
The way Miami looked, Jimmy Butler looked awful.
Terrible.
I was going to come on here. If they had gotten killed in game 6, I would have came on here and destroyed Jimmy. I don't want to hear nothing about no fucking knee. None of that.
Right.
Because in game 5, it was so bizarre. He was really aggressive. But it was so tunnel vision, so selfish. So I want to get going, which he never plays like.
Right.
And I was watching it, and obviously Boston's clicking in every way. And I'm like, wow. I mean, Miami can't recover from this.
Yeah. And that was the game. He played that full game, right? Because in game 4 is when he left at halftime.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And
so he came back off of that. Right. So this game he had 6 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist.
How many shots did he take? Look at his fucking shooting.
He was 3 for 14.
Oh, I can't believe he took 14. He always finds a way not to take too many shots.
Hey, remember I told you, was it 2 years ago now? 18 shots is his magic number. When he takes 18, Miami's
at least when he's going off, he keeps going. He doesn't shut it off when he's in the middle of a good game.
Right. In this particular game, it didn't seem like any other starters really wanted to play for Miami. Bam went from having a good 2 games in a row to being MIA in this game. What did he? 9 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, only took 5 shots. I mean, Lowry was.
It blows my mind how a basketball player could come off of a 31-point game and take 5 shots.
Yeah.
That to
Oladipo
me
was their best player in this
is
game.
crazy by far.
Yeah. To be honest, if they had won this series, I would have voted. I mean, obviously I don't get a vote, but I would have voted for Oladipo for MVP of the series, to be honest. Dead serious.
Okay.
Jimmy Butler had 3 single-digit games as a starter. 3
And then
single digits,
outside
and Bam
of
had 1 good game.
Outside of the game Butler left, every other win was almost exclusively because of Jimmy Butler.
Oh, every win. Yeah.
And
Oladipo was the only
game
one who played
7 would have
consistent.
been, if they had won, it would have been Butler's MVP stamp.
It would have. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but if they had won. So this game, is there more to say about this? Celtics railed them. 20-point game.
Robert Williams looked great.
He did. Absolutely, he did. And I think that, well, we'll get into it. Game 7. So next game, game 6.
Jimmy Butler rises from beyond the grave.
Yes, absolutely.
To go absolutely insane, like he did in game 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought like there was a crazy amount of like, wow, like this is Butler's one of his greatest games. I didn't think he really played that much better than game 1.
Yeah, this kind of leads to a point I'll make later, but Jimmy can do that where he doesn't have to be super aggressive. He doesn't have to attack that much. He can just play steady and go for 40, which would be everyone else's like almost like half speed for him. It just makes it look easy. He reserves energy and everything. So yeah.
And game 6 was like Boston has an opportunity to win the game in spite of all that.
Mm-hmm.
And what kills them? Bad decisions.
Right.
Things they can control.
Right.
Turnovers, again, spacing was bad. Like, honestly, I can't comprehend how Boston manages to have bad spacing ever.
No, me either.
Like I see Miami have that problem, and like it makes sense to me. A lot of the time it's how they play, a lot of the time it's who's out there. With Boston, any 5 guys they put out there, I'm like, yo, there's, even regardless of the problems we've talked about, the space should still be there.
Right.
We shouldn't be driving through Oladipo and 2 other Miami players are there. Like that shouldn't ever happen.
Right.
And yet game 6 is constantly going on.
Yeah. Yep. What were the turnover numbers in this game? 17.
I'm sure it wasn't that different because Miami's a mess as well.
Yeah, this particular game, I thought both teams looked really bad. Celtics just were a little bit worse because like Horford did nothing in this game. He just couldn't make anything. And even though and then Grant Williams, this was a weird game where Grant Williams like wasn't involved like he had been in the earlier part of the series and last series.
Yeah.
Like this is the first game it seemed like Grant Williams, they really took Grant Williams out of the game. I think he had foul trouble too.
You know what's weird is for all the turnover problems they had, Grant Williams is probably the only guy they limited dribbling the ball.
I know. Yeah.
Which is just bizarre because he only ever dribbles to make a good decision outside of an occasional bad drive.
Right. But even when he does that, it's usually off of a great pump fake.
Yeah.
And like there's no one there. He just, gets caught up on a pass or something. Yeah, so Miami took that one. I won't say easy, but again, both teams looked bad. Miami just looked less bad in this one.
And Jimmy Butler played 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So that had a lot. That was a very important point going into this last game.
Yeah. Yeah. And that game, actually, Lowry played fantastic in that game compared to how he had been playing, at least in the other part of
Yeah,
the
awful.
series.
Yeah.
This was by far the best game. And it kind of I would say it gave Miami, I think Miami was feeling good going into game 7. What about you? You think they were?
No.
No, you don't think they were feeling good?
No, you know why? Because watching, they should have, I guess, but after game 6, I realized that Miami's half court offense like can't hang with probably the best defense in the league.
Right. Right.
I mean, we've disagreed on this a lot with Miami specifically, but by the end of the series, I can't defend their half court offense. Looked a lot of times incompetent.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's awful. I'm like, how did they even get to this point? Like, obviously, I know how they beat the other teams, but how did nobody expose this at like more than they did?
And I'm sorry, the game 5, Jimmy had 13 and he was 4 for 18, not 3 for 14.
Magic number.
So he did take 18. Yeah. Yep. Yep. So game 7.
Game 7.
So we
Miami again comes out flat. I'm gonna just start there.
Right. We looked at the first half very differently, at least the first quarter, right? You saw Miami as flat.
I mean, it's about like how you're trying to dictate the game. Because I've seen Spoelstra do this very well a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But like Boston is clearly, there's a clear point of emphasis to be physical with people. Like they come out the game, they're up on everybody, they're fighting hard through screens, everybody's on the glass, like they're just physical.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Miami is just running handoffs.
Right.
Like we're just passing the ball. Jimmy Butler, who's the best player of this series, is just moving the ball. Bam, who they don't have an answer for, like is just handing it off. It was just bizarre.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was bizarre.
Miami's turnovers for the first time all series looked like Boston. Where it was the team is so confident that they could just get it to everybody that all these guys are trying passes for at a certain point, no reason.
Yeah.
I mean, Jimmy's getting to the free throw line to pass it to a guy. What did you think?
So for me, and I guess this kind of just speaks to how little I respect Miami's offense. I thought Boston's defense was fantastic in the first half. I thought Boston was dictating kind of how Miami had to play. Not that I think that Boston can stop Bam and Jimmy, but I think they were funneling really well, making guys go certain ways, making things happen from the corners. It looked like a lot of times Boston kind of forced them into the corners, and Miami was making bad decision after bad decision coming out of the corners. I think they defended the Bam illegal screens really well in the first half. And then on the other end, I think Boston was taking really good shots. Now, it could have been Miami not playing great defense. I could definitely understand people looking at it that way. But I think I didn't see Boston force a single shot in the first half. And there was times they could have. I'll say the first quarter. Second quarter, they forced a few. But the first quarter, I didn't see them force a single shot. It was all very, very good passes, driving kicks. And Jalen and Jason were really aggressive going to the basket. I just thought it was a great, great, great start for them. They set the tone definitely with that first quarter.
Yeah, man. Again, they were just locked in. Offensively, they were essentially flawless the first 20 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
And defensively, like in the second quarter, they ramped it up to even better than initially, I thought.
They did. I think so
Because
too.
once
Yeah.
once Miami kind of woke up and started taking better shots and making better decisions, that's when the
Mhm.
stops became a big deal to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the few times Miami was getting good shots, it was late in the shot clock. It seemed like they were forcing sometimes. Jimmy kind of had to force drives, like where he had to be a lot more aggressive than he normally is when it comes to driving. And I mean, it worked, but I think that's kind of what you want as a Celtic. You don't want the easy ones for Jimmy. You don't want him to take anything easy. You don't want him to create anything easy for anyone else.
Yeah, and in that
So
first half, he had to take and make a lot of tough shots,
he did.
which again, coming off of a 45-point game. At this point in our highlight, we're about to the halftime point, and Jimmy
Yeah.
has not checked out the game.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So again, we're at halftime. Just to put it in perspective real quick, from what we've kind of discussed, Boston is absolutely dominating.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
For about 90% of the game, they're dominating. And we go into halftime, Miami is down, I believe, 8 points with 8 or 9 missed free throws.
Something like that, yeah.
So I might be off on a free throw or the score a little bit, but it was like with the made free throws, I remember seeing it and thinking it would have been a one possession game. I think I told you that.
Yeah, you did say that. Yeah.
So again, Miami, and it was really Jimmy and Bam.
And that was it. That was like literally
who took command of the offense. I don't understand why it took 15 minutes of basketball for that to be realized.
right. Yeah.
So halftime, what did you see in the third quarter?
Boston, and this is something we'll definitely have to discuss when it comes to talking about the finals. Boston goes on lulls, man, where they have a really hard time scoring. And this third quarter, I think although they played pretty well, they went on a long stretch of not scoring. And Miami came out, I thought, very well. I think they came out making great passes. They felt like there was a few possessions where it felt like to me, like Miami didn't even need to dribble to get a shot. Like they would pass, somebody's open, we're gonna score. Pass, somebody cut, score. And Boston, it's not that Boston's defense wasn't there, but I think for Boston, sometimes if they don't get good stops on defense, their offense kind of gets staggered, I guess. So that's what I saw most of the third quarter.
You have the stats in front of you, by the way.
Yeah, rough stats. Yeah,
I'm just curious. How many did Jimmy Butler have at half? It was 20 something.
I got.
It was like that. 20. It was a lot.
I want to say it was
like
24, but let me check.
That sounds right.
But go ahead, keep going. I'll find it.
But in the third quarter, I thought Miami's role players stepped up.
Yeah.
I thought they had more energy. I thought they made more plays. They were looking for Jimmy a lot more. They had a good they got a good halftime break.
Yeah, it did.
But this third quarter, and I don't disagree with anything you said. I think this third quarter was like probably the first time I saw Boston as a legitimate championship team.
Okay.
You know why? Because while they were on a fucking lull, which every team goes on, they still controlled the game. Up until that point, I will say probably 95% of the time, when Boston goes on a lull, the other team is back in the game or the other team takes over the game.
Yeah.
like it happened with a lot of the Miami wins.
Yep.
Finally, Boston, and I didn't say anything because I'm sitting there watching like Boston is giving up the game. I think I told you something at halftime, but then, I try to focus in on the third quarter, and you see that Boston's letting Miami back in the game. It's getting closer. And all of a sudden, big shot by Brown, big shot by Tatum. Smart took and made big shots.
Yep.
Horford made big plays. That's what I couldn't see from them during the lulls before.
That's true. That's true. They made a lot of plays that, although Miami was catching up, they made a lot of plays that disrupted their momentum.
Yes.
Like Miami never fully got like a good momentum of the game. Like you said, Boston still controlled the game. Even when Miami went up, or not up, but when it got to really, really close game, Boston would hit a shot and say, "No, we're still in this. We still got this."
And that was really impressive to me.
Way.
Yeah, Jimmy 24. Did.
Yeah.
That to me from Boston's side was really impressive. Because it was the guys like I want. Like, if Tatum had missed those shots and Brown misses those shots, that's fine. But it's shots, not turnovers, and it's shots I like and the team should like.
Right.
That's what like if we'll talk about the finals, but if they're gonna beat the best team in the league, they gotta be able to sustain control of the game while not playing well.
Yeah, I agree. Yep. So, fourth quarter, which was super exciting, by the way. Probably one of the most exciting fourth quarters of the playoffs to me. Probably since the Brooklyn and Boston series.
I don't know, Morant, the Minnesota one with Morant going crazy was just wild.
Both those were first round, right? So since the first round, this is the most exciting fourth quarter, and it was back and forth. There was only 3-point difference here in the fourth quarter, and Miami actually outscored them by 3 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Miami eventually clawed their way back into the game.
Yep.
And at that point, Miami is capable of doing that. Obviously, they're in the conference finals. It's not a fluke.
And Boston is capable of blowing leads.
Right. Boston, again, even though I was impressed with what I saw, it wasn't the perfect formula yet.
Right.
If there is one.
Right.
I don't know, man. What was the biggest thing you thought that Miami did to bring the game officially back?
So we talked about their half court. I think the less time Miami takes in the half court, the better they play. If Miami comes down slow and they take 15 seconds, 18 seconds out of the shot clock, you played great defense. They're going to have to force. They're going to have to take a bad shot. I think when in the last run, I want to say the middle of the fourth quarter, they were coming down like first 6 seconds of the shot clock. They were doing something, making some kind of action. Somebody was looking at a shot. They may not have taken every shot that quick, but they had a look early in the shot clock. And I think they made big plays on defense. With
Lowry had a lot of big plays.
Yeah. Yep. I think Boston was a little bit. I think the momentum at that time rattled Boston just a little bit. But yeah, what did you see?
You see, that's a good point. I think when both teams play with momentum, they could go toe to toe with each other, no problem.
Yeah.
It's when they don't have momentum, Boston can survive, whereas Miami is suffering underwater with no oxygen.
And that, yeah, you're right about that. Boston has probably, maybe 3 out of like the top 10 breakdown scorers in the league. Like when the play breaks down, Smart, Brown, Tatum are amazing scorers when the play is broken. 18 seconds into the shot clock, we ran the play, nothing was open. or we took a shot, we missed it, we got offensive rebound. What are we gonna do? Those guys shine in those moments, especially Smart. Because Smart, like a long rebound would come out to him at the 3-point line, and he hits a huge three. And it's, that's just what he does. He's great at that. I forgot what my point was. Oh, Miami doesn't have that. They only have Jimmy to do that.
One guy.
That's it.
One guy.
Yep.
And now
everyone else,
we're at the point
everyone
now.
else takes a bad shot. They force in those situations. Strus, Lowry, Bam ends up taking like weird floaters, fadeaways. Like everyone does something out of their character in those situations, except for Jimmy.
Now we're at the point where, again, game is winding down. We're battling, and Jimmy Butler has played out of the last 70 minutes. He's played essentially all of them.
Yes.
Let's say 80 minutes. 80 minutes, he's played essentially all of them.
Yes.
And I noticed this in the third quarter when, like, him getting back looked like Anthony Davis. Like where he's obviously it was because he's exhausted, but he looked hurt getting back on defense.
Right.
Obviously, he didn't look hurt scoring or defending guys.
Mm-hmm.
But getting back, he jogged every time. And Miami was like prepared for it. Like he would call guys to match up a little differently for him to get the last guy for Boston a lot of the time.
Yeah, to get the trail guy.
There was a plan from at least from the players to like help Jimmy make it through the game.
Yeah. And let's not forget to mention Bam played 46 minutes and 10 seconds in this game. Jimmy played 48 minutes, Bam played 46 and 10 seconds.
And now we're getting to why Miami lost this series.
Conditioning and not using their depth like we've been talking about.
Because their conditioning, I guarantee you, if instead of the entire game, Jimmy had a 4-minute break at some point, he makes that shot. Or you know what? No. That's a reach. I'm reaching on that one. I'm not going to say he makes the shot because it's not his game. He doesn't settle for the shot if he's not gassed the whole fourth quarter.
Okay. You're talking about the shot. Yes.
The shot.
The transition three that he took. Yes.
The shot. Now, I'm focusing on the shot. Would you like to focus on Boston's complete ineptness to allow that to happen?
Yeah. Well, first of all, that was on the tail end of a 11-0 run, by the way. And Jimmy actually didn't score any of the points in the 11-0 run, which I thought was very interesting. But they had a great stop. And listen, I'm not mad at Boston's defense on that particular possession because I don't know. There's really what else they could do, or else they would. I mean, Horford would have had to foul him if he got inside the 3-point line. It would have been a foul.
Yeah.
Either on the shot or on the drive. If Horford ran out there for the 3, he would have had to foul Jimmy on the drive. One or the other.
And I'm not confident he goes 2 for 2 the way they were shooting free throws, but that's, at that point we're reaching for too many hypotheticals.
Right. So I think Boston, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if Boston was thinking, oh, Jimmy might take a transition 3 here, but I do know that them protecting the rim was the best choice that they had at that particular junction, especially on an 11-0 run. I'd rather you cap it off with a tough 3 than, come with a dunk or a, and one layup.
And this game became like a single possession game really randomly. Because it really was an 8-0 run.
Yeah.
It was an 8-0 run to where, Jesus, Boston, what are you doing? But the game is still fine. We're still, we still have a quality like 5-point lead. We're okay. There's not that much time. And then Strus just hits a wild shot, I thought.
Yeah. Well, the reason you say that is because the 11-0 run was in like a minute and 12 seconds or whatever. It was that quick. It was like Wasn't even a full 2 minutes that the 11-0 run happened. And yes, that shot was probably the shot of the game. That's true.
And once he made that shot, I really wanted Miami to win the game, to be honest.
Why is that?
Because this 11-0 run, it almost made me regret all the confidence I saw in the third quarter.
In Boston?
From Boston, yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
my
God.
That 11-0 run is why, for those who are wondering why I didn't think Boston would win this series, it was because of stuff like that. I thought Miami would capitalize on that more, but
yeah,
hey, it is what it is.
And it was, again, you come down to a shot, you're open. Even if Jimmy, I've talked to a number of people, I really haven't heard anybody have an issue with the shot he took.
I think people want to have an issue with it. I think all the listeners who have ever seen me play basketball, 100% I would have taken the same shot. So I have no room.
People, bro, LeBron for years took shots like that.
Would the Warriors have driven on that? No. Not one player on the Warriors would have.
Poole would have drained it real quick.
Yeah.
Poole would have sent them home and would have been waving as soon as he made it. Like, good, see you guys.
Yeah. Yep.
I just like Marcus Smart had such a good game up until that 11-0 run.
A lot of them did.
Brown was having such a good game. And then, like, again, we control the game.
Mm-hmm.
There's literally no need to force shots.
They were forcing shots.
And that's the one thing, literally, if I'm giving you're my point guard, I'm saying I'm going to put you in this situation. You're up 12 with 4 minutes left. Like, all you have to do, besides getting stops, which Boston obviously knows how to do, is not to force shots.
Wasn't it, I'm going to say it was like 48 seconds left or something like that when Smart took that ridiculous shot?
Yes.
Like, he came down early in the shot clock. Bro, I told you, Grant Williams had to get the rebound and hold it and say, Smart, slow down. Like, let's slow down. I'm telling you. Dude, if Grant Williams has to do that, you do not have a point guard on the roster. Because Pritchard would have slowed it down.
Exactly. I thought both coaches didn't trust their role players as much as they should have. And with Spoelstra, there's one exception, but I'll get to that. Don't spoil it yet. Because it's not like the deciding factor, but it was very important.
I think Boston did as good of a job as I expected. They were fouling them enough, so they didn't need Tice out there. They used plenty of fouls. And I think they played Derek White probably more than I expected them to be honest. And Pritchard, but the problem is, because Miami didn't go deep, Celtics had no need to. Like, since Miami wasn't going to take any of their top 6 out, there's really nowhere to put Pritchard or obviously not Neesmith, or Tice out there, because Bam played 46 minutes. And once Tice got out there, Bam was going to the line immediately.
Yeah, Bam would have went off for sure.
Yeah.
even not looking at a score, he would have went off.
Right. And even though Grant Williams played a lot of minutes in this game, Robert Williams did not. Derek White played 20 minutes, just about. I think he trusted his team well. They really only go that deep anyway.
You know what the difference was? Whether Udoka trusts his guys or not, he'll never put them in a position to decide this series.
That's true.
And Spoelstra, and this is the main point to me, like, you could cover it up with not subbing Jimmy Butler out all you want, leaving Bam in for 46 minutes all you want.
Yeah.
I was ready to scream in game 5 when down 24 points with Jimmy Butler on the floor, an all-star, Oladipo on the floor, an all-star,
Yeah.
Kyle Lowry on the floor, a former all-star, Bam
Yeah.
Adebayo on the floor, an all-star level player, a
Yeah.
borderline
Bam's been an
has been
all-star.
an all-star.
Yeah. Mhm.
4 fucking all-stars, down 4 capable all-stars, down 24 points. We're going to the guy who just cracked our rotation this year.
From Division II basketball. PJ Tucker is a NBA champion last season.
And he barely played in the second half of game 7.
He played less than Derek White. But he also finished with a minus
had
16.
The nerve to not sub Jimmy Butler out and force possessions to Strus.
Right.
That, like, if you're gonna do that, why would you not rest Jimmy at that point?
Harrow was apparently healthy for this game.
He played in the first half. The second.
He only played 6 minutes in the whole game. Yeah, but I'm giving you people that could have subbed in. Harrow only played 6 minutes. Caleb Martin played fantastic the last 2 games.
Didn't touch the court.
Again, Bam played 46 minutes. Dwayne Dedman played 0.
Who's been great for them.
Right. He's played good for them this whole series. And then obviously Duncan Robinson is getting paid $90 million and didn't.
Bro, I don't understand. I just don't get why game 7 you say forget the fucking depth. Jimmy, take us home.
Yeah, how do you you're gonna out top 6, the best top 6 in the league? Like, that doesn't, I don't understand what that logic is. Yeah, we have 9 guys that can play big minutes on every team in the entire league. Really 10. They just never play Markieff Morris. We have 10 guys that can play big minutes on every team in the league, but Boston only plays 6, so we're only going to play 7. That doesn't, the logic there isn't there for me. I don't get it.
The two things to me specifically, and in my opinion, it was Martin not playing, and it was never subbing Strus out for fucking Tucker in the second half.
Strus played 36 minutes.
What the fuck?
Lowry played 39.
And granted, you found minutes for Vincent. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Because if Vincent had barely played, I would have been screaming, honestly.
Right.
But I don't
Just
get it.
He started
for the whole second half. Miami needed to get stops, and they didn't. And a lot of it was because Boston was relentlessly attacking Strus.
Yep.
And Spoelstra just toughed it out.
Yeah.
He never did anything, just like he used to do with Duncan Robinson. He's like, yo, we're going to fight through this. We'll mix it up. We'll zone it up.
But the funny thing is they weren't even really picking on Strus. They weren't targeting him. It was really in the flow of the offense, and Strus would get switched off and oh, we got Strus on me. I'm just going to go. It didn't look like every time down court, they were just saying, yo, who's Strus guarding? Give it to him. They were running the offense, and Strus got a bad switch, and they exploited it. It's just playing basketball. And that's the best way to do that. We've seen in other series, and even with Miami, they think, oh, if someone can't guard Jimmy, we're just going to give it to Jimmy every time down court. And, Jimmy's not necessarily that dude to win games doing that. I mean, he can do that, and he can score a lot of points, but it's not winning for him. And I think Boston has found that they can actually run the offense and still exploit mismatches in this game 7. I think that'll help them moving forward into the finals.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we'll have more to say on Boston when we preview the finals, but
yeah,
it's tough with Miami. I didn't think Spoelstra would lose faith in his roster in this game just out of nowhere.
Yeah. Well,
I know Tucker. I understand Tucker offensively was playing pretty bad in the beginning of the game. He was He was part of the reason why they were so inept initially.
He was.
Bro, Tucker's is a vet. Tucker strapped Tatum like 90% of the series.
Yep.
And he doesn't touch the court in the fourth quarter.
In the second half, I don't think, did he?
I'm not sure if he played in the second half.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he did either.
While Strus, I'm pretty sure, did not check out of the fucking game.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, there's no need for with this, the guys you named. Why the hell is Strus like 25 is more than enough for him?
Strus played 21 minutes in the second half, and PJ played 3 minutes in the second half.
That's sick.
Yeah, took
that's
one
coaching
shot.
Criminality, bro. From in my opinion, the best coach in the fucking league.
Spoelstra's the best coach in the league.
Yep. But after that game 7, I look foolish saying that. Obviously,
after this series should not even. I mean, if Spoelstra was really coaching, like this series, it should not have went like this at all. And I mean, and I am saying that because of how many times Boston has made mistakes. I think Boston is a better team, but Boston made plenty of mistakes, plenty of chances for Miami to win 4 games.
And Miami almost did.
Yeah. I mean, before game 7, Miami had a lot of chances to take this series in 6.
So did Definitely. Boston had way more though.
They did. Fair. They did. Yeah. But Boston wasn't the number 1 seed. I'm talking about Miami. As good as Miami is and as good as the coach Spoelstra is supposed to be, he had more chances to win this easily. And Miami just played bad.
I will say, I mean, maybe Kerr had a more impressive first-year run, but Udoka is having one of the most impressive first-year coaching runs I've ever seen.
Yeah. And
like,
I will say this,
figured themselves out over the course of the year.
I will say this. I watched an old podcast from earlier this season of Tatum going on there talking about the media wanting to split him and Jalen up, right?
Right. I've said JJ, this, I believe, right?
I only saw Tatum talking. I didn't see what the question was, or I didn't see who asked him the question. But I said this last podcast and the podcast before, I think. I really think that noise sparked them, because if you, like, to me, this whole half a season since the new year, Jaylen Brown has taken a step back from how aggressive he was in the beginning of this season and in the end of last season. I think because last year, Jaylen was teetering on being the better player between them. There was nights where we were like, well, Jaylen should take 10 more shots than Jason because they're better shots. You know, he's getting corner threes. He was more in the offense. And now I've seen since the new year, since they went on this amazing record that they had, I've seen Jaylen kind of step back into being more of that accelerated role guy where he gets his shots in spots. He doesn't take a lot of one-on-one shots anymore. Very, very few. He doesn't bring the ball up court anymore. Very rarely. I've seen him take a major setback from what I think last year we thought his potential was. And I think we've seen how it has affected the game. It helps them. They can't be 1A and 1B. I think they learned that this season. They have to be 1 and 2, not 1A, 1B. I think throughout the playoffs, they've been 1 and 2, and Jalen's just had really good games.
I don't know, man. I think
he's not nearly as ball dominant as he used to be last season and in the beginning of this season.
I will say he makes decisions quicker. But to me, he still has the ball a lot. Because if he didn't, the turnover problems wouldn't have been as glaring as they were at times.
Turnover problems were disgusting by both of them. It was,
Both of
yeah.
them. And that's where I didn't really see the divide of first option, second option.
But his turnovers came on him attacking. Tatum's turnovers came with him making bad passes.
And you know what? It might have been Oladipo more than anybody else, to be honest, because I swear Oladipo had like 15 steals just on Brown.
He did. And it wasn't that, like, it wasn't Brown being like, trying to make plays and everything. It was Brown trying to go score, and he was getting stripped every time. Tatum's turnovers were him trying to play point guard most of the time. Tatum didn't get like stripped or he got like the ball stripped like going up, but he didn't like get stripped off the dribble or anything like that. He was trying to make passes and they were getting taken, they were getting stolen. He'd make a pass, it would get stolen. And Brown was taking Oladipo one-on-one for like 5 or 6 of his turnovers throughout the series. Which earlier this season, Brown would be like try to be a playmaker like Tatum was. And he didn't do that as much in this series, and it helped them. I think they were more focused on roles in this entire series. I think that helped them big time.
I agree. I think I agree with that. But to me, it's the other guy that's primarily the reason for that. Tatum, early in the year, we would yell at him going 3 for 18 and doing nothing else.
Yeah.
I talked about this with the Brooklyn series. The effort is there to not just take tough shots.
Yeah, that's true.
That to me has been the biggest, and that's why as a team, they look a lot more explosive.
They do.
Because to me, I mean, we're like 10, 20 straight playoff games, and Tatum is not even going for, 40, 50-point games.
Mm-hmm.
He's aggressive. He's always going to take a lot of shots. He's not just killing possessions repeatedly. He's not just like not looking for guys repeatedly. To me, part of the reason he has so many turnovers is because he's playing differently now.
Yeah, he is. He absolutely is.
I do see a lot more drives from him where he's looking for the shooters. He wants to find Smart when he's open. And a lot of the times now, the turnovers are part of the growing pains from that.
Yeah.
Like you said, a lot of it is bad passes.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, early in the year, I was begging him to make bad passes.
Yeah.
It was just all bad shots. That's what pissed me off more than anything. Because we're looking at Boston is the most complete roster in the league. In the first 3 months of the year, we had no idea.
Let me put this into perspective real quick. Jaylen Brown in December, these are his shot attempts: 22, 22, 24, 36, 20, 29, 25, right? This is December. January, it goes to 18, 17, 19, 18, 19, 20, 20. He doesn't take 25 shots again for the rest of the season. The entire season, he doesn't take 25 shots again at all. I mean, and
I think Tatum's, I'm not sure if it's that drastic. I think Tatum's shot attempts dipped, a little more slightly than that.
Yeah, you might be right, because he's been distributing a lot more. I haven't looked at his assist numbers compared to like other seasons, but I would imagine his assist numbers went up this season. At least it looked
he's
like
having like his averages, I'm not sure either, but like I've seen the 5 to 8 assist games with him trying to kick it out all day.
Yeah.
I didn't see that in the past.
No.
So to me, that like him being more in tune with the team is the reason why, like we said last episode, Boston could have literally gone 16-0 in the playoffs.
Yeah. They're good enough.
They're easily capable to go 16-0.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say the others in the playoffs have been absolutely fantastic, above expectations. Grant Williams played good this season, but I didn't think he'd be one of the more valuable players on the team throughout the playoffs. I think Smart stepped up.
Derek White turned out to be the most impactful trade of the year.
In the playoffs, yeah. Well, in this
as far as
series, at
like
least.
influencing a team taking a step. And
Yeah,
he kind of proves your point where he's not a point guard, but he's capable of playing it, and he's a high IQ player.
he is a high IQ player. Yeah,
And you see it,
yeah,
you already saw it late in the series. White was the guy settling them down a lot of the time, making sure people touch the ball. We're getting drives, we're playing kickouts. Like, I thought White just being a good decision maker helped them a ton.
yeah, absolutely. And it made it so Smart didn't have to play the whole games,
Yeah,
or at least didn't have to play on ball the whole game, which reserves your
100%.
energy by itself. Yeah. So let's talk about Miami real quick. Miami's just their season in general. This I'm not gonna ask you what. Well, I will ask you. You think this was a wasted season for them?
No,
Kyle Lowry thinks so. So
I don't understand what possessed him to say that.
I don't either.
You know what possessed him to say that is he wasted a year.
Yeah.
He wasted a fucking year because he came to Miami as a missing piece, and now we're going into the offseason. He's washed up.
Yeah.
And he's going to be fighting. And I think I'm not saying he should retire, but if he doesn't get healthy, if he's got more hamstring problems next year, he's going to be done.
And it was it makes it even more selfish. And for those who don't know what we're talking about, just look it up. Look up what Kyle Lowry said about wasted season. The thing is, he's been to the finals once.
Yeah.
You would think he was in the finals like every year for him to say, nah, if we're not playing for the championship, it's a wasted season.
The first thing my friend told me, like, yo, who does Lowry think he is? As if he's like Steph Curry, go to the finals all the time.
He's been there once.
On Kawhi's riding on Kawhi's back and Siakam's back.
Right. Yeah. So
yo, I just again, we like to put things in perspective. Yeah. You really think the 6th man of the year wasted a year?
No.
Like Tyler Herro didn't, you know what I mean? Ask Tyler Herro if he wasted a year. Ask Max Strus if he wasted a year.
From D2 to starting on an NBA contender.
I'll give it to you. Maybe he talked to Duncan Robinson. Duncan Robinson wasted his year.
Duncan wasted his year. Gabe Vincent did not waste his year. Gabe Vincent looks like
the Martin guy. Dedmon had a good year. Dedmon just literally earned another contract.
Yeah.
Dedmon looks 45, and there's now a market for him to be a backup for somebody next year.
In reality, he's only like 29. He just looks old.
And he's been in the league for forever.
Yeah, he's like in, I think, early 30s.
I mean, like,
but yeah, you're right.
Even Jimmy and Bam, maybe had ups and downs in the playoffs. Obviously, they didn't waste a year. They were within a shot of the finals.
Yeah.
You would think they got, like, it's one thing if Boston just obliterated them like Milwaukee did last year.
Right.
I mean, we're right there.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, where does Miami go from here? Do you think Miami keeps all these guys? Number one.
Yes.
You think everyone is staying?
Okay, everyone, I can't say that. Like, Oladipo is going to be tough to keep.
You think Herro's staying?
Yeah.
So,
and I think they're going to pay him.
Okay. So,
I think Herro, they kind of don't have a choice.
Well, what if he says, I'm not,
okay,
I don't want to stay here.
You want to talk about the scenario? Because I specifically didn't react to your scenario because I wanted to talk about it on here.
Okay, let's do it.
That was an awful idea, just to start off.
What, me?
Oladipo, just for the listeners.
Oh, that. Oh, I got you. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Tyler suggested, was it right after the game?
It was after the game because I knew I could see that Herro wants to start. It's obvious.
He did look like he was sick that he wasn't out there in the second half.
Yeah, it's obvious.
and Herro could crack the starting lineup It didn't go well last time, but I think he's still improving. He's still a third-year player. Bro, his upside, like, he has too much upside for me to commit to a guy who's been hurt for 2 years.
Well, let me say what I said.
Yes.
I said if Hero wants to start like I think he does, I would inquire to Oladipo if he would come off the bench and commit to coming off the bench and commit long term to Miami, and I would trade Hero. Because I think it's not that I think Oladipo is like obviously I don't think he has higher upside than Hero. Hero's what, 22?
Yeah.
And sixth man of the year already.
Yeah.
And Oladipo is injury prone. Although he looks amazing right now, he's injury prone. But I mean, I think you get a premium paying you pay Oladipo less money than you would probably pay Hero at this point. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of teams would want Hero. I think Hero has a higher trade value than Oladipo. I wouldn't want to lose Oladipo for nothing when I can trade Hero and get something and keep Oladipo. That's how I feel about it. Just based off how Oladipo played in this series. Now, I mean, I'm not sure if Hero is not injury prone at this point. I'm not sure.
I'm not gonna go. Hero. I'm not gonna go that far that he's injury prone.
I'm just saying I'm not sure. That's all I'm saying. Not sure. I mean,
again, I'll make a point. I don't think Miami looked as inept offensively when he played. Because
Hero did?
When Hero played. Because the forced possessions to Strus were a lot of times being forced to Hero, who's obviously a much better offensive player.
Yes.
And Hero by design is that kind of player where Strus really is not.
Right.
And
Hero, when he comes off screens, it isn't just to take a shot. Hero can do a lot more.
He's a full-blown scoring threat.
He is. Yep.
And again, I think he'll get better. I also don't think he kills your rotation if you try to start him. Like, I don't think that's like a deal breaker for me.
No, well, I didn't say that because I don't think he should start. I would start Hero, but I don't think Miami wants to start Hero. And if they don't want to start Hero, I would be surprised that I'd be surprised if they kept him long term, not starting. I don't see him as like a willing Ginobili for the rest of his career. And if they're not considering starting him, like they're going to do the whole just token shooter thing. I think I'm better off having Oladipo come off the bench if I'm just going to have a token shooter to start the games.
I'm
and
surprised.
Hero be unhappy. I mean,
if I'm committing to Oladipo, I would take the risk to see if he could come back to being a starter.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Now, I'm kind of with you that I personally don't really like Hero starting. I think he fits them really well coming off the bench.
Yeah.
But I also think, like, it's not like he has to take a reduced role if he continues to be their sixth man. He's still going to get a ton of shots. He's still going to be an elite player.
Yeah, I mean, he averaged like 20 this season coming off the bench.
Right.
Yeah.
But Oladipo, to me, like, him being 100%, the versatility from that, the just all the things he could do on both ends. To me, I can't make it a one or the other situation. I'm doing everything in my power to keep both. And
there's no way they keep Oladipo and Hero. I don't think so.
Oladipo is the guy. He just looks like the odd man out, bro.
Trust me, there's a couple teams that I like that I wish would snag Oladipo immediately.
I think both of those. I think Hero and Oladipo would be great on a lot of teams.
I think Oladipo helps Atlanta like immediately. I think Oladipo helps. I think Oladipo would help Dallas. I mean, I see a lot of teams Oladipo could go to and them immediately be contenders. I don't see the same for Hero. I think Hero is probably it's not that he's gonna like not be good, but I think he's probably in the best situation for him right now, at least. I think coming off this season, I don't see Hero like going and being like somebody's best player or second best player right now. Do you?
Nah, man. I think we're gonna see a lucrative extension at some point next year for him.
I do too. I do too. But he's voiced his opinion about being unhappy coming off the bench. So, I mean, I've seen it. I mean, we've all
Miami's
seen
one of the
guys
few
sign the
teams like,
extension.
Miami's a team that could literally scrap and then go on a deep playoff run. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
whether he's kind of unhappy with his role, I think he'll play out the year with them even unhappy and perform at a high level.
I do too.
So
I do
to
too.
me, I guess the overall point, because you asked what does Miami do from here, is run it back.
Try to run it back. Okay.
Run it back. They're like, I don't want to gamble trying to get better.
Right.
To me, anything they do to try to get significantly better is a gamble.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, we saw it in this series, despite of all the stuff we talked about, it really came down to none other than Jimmy Butler.
Great segue. So last podcast, we mentioned just briefly, what does Jimmy Butler look like after this series when it comes to him being the best player on the team? And the Batman name as the best player on the team. So is Jimmy Butler a Batman on a team? You say yes.
Yes.
After this series.
I want to, he's not just any Batman. He can't go to any city and be a Batman.
Okay. That's the question though. So you're saying no.
He's not Tatum. He's not Giannis. He's not KD. And I'm not
So
saying
the
those
answer
guys
is
are
no.
perfect Batmans, but they're like, no matter where they go, they're Batmans.
Okay.
Butler's
So are you
not.
saying that the league shouldn't see him as that? Or are you saying that he isn't someone that can take control of a team? Are you saying like a franchise shouldn't say, oh, we need a new best player, let's get Jimmy Butler? Or are you saying that Jimmy Butler can't go to another franchise and become their best player and become their franchise guy?
You see, this is where Jimmy pisses me off because he definitely can.
Right.
He
Will he?
no question he's capable.
Right.
I mean, I told you this after the game. I think, and I don't even, in my opinion, it's not a hot take. He's shown me greatest wing of all time potential.
Mm-hmm.
But the willingness to be that is just not there.
Right.
And this is where, like, again, if I'm looking for a new best player, Jimmy Butler is a phenomenal option.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Even if I have no clue what the rest of my roster looks like.
Mm-hmm.
But when the expectation becomes when I got Butler and I built the complete roster around him, that's when I can't trust him.
Gotcha. Okay.
What do you think?
Basically, for all the same reasons you said, I'm just gonna interpret it differently. I think Jimmy Butler is the best Robin in the league by far. I think he is the best number 2 guy in the NBA. But right now he's asked to be a number 1 and it's just not it. Because I don't think a Batman can have 47 in a game and then have like 3 points in another game in the same series. I just don't see, that's not a Batman to me. Not saying he has to average 30 or anything, but listen, hurt or not, if he was hurt, and we don't know for sure he's hurt, we just assume, the media is assuming he's hurt. If he was hurt, cool, but I need more than that. I've seen worse players get more than that, more hurt than he apparently is. More hurt than they can play 48 minutes in a game. So to me, I think Jimmy is the best number 2 guy you could possibly get. I just think the problem with him being number 1 for me that he's shown in this series is that he's not a come get it guy. He's not that ball dominant of a player. The way he scores is very
it's weird
quiet.
Because he is, but it's always reluctant to be.
Right. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
That's what I hate about him, honestly.
It's so his points are so quiet. He'll have 47 and you only remember 10 points of it. Like he does that. And to me, that's amazing for your Robin. That's the kind of Robin you want. You don't want it didn't have to be someone who can get 50, but you want a Robin that can get 30 without anybody noticing it, because our best player is actually getting 30 and everyone notices it. So I think he is the ideal Robin. He's what everybody would want in a Robin. He plays great defense. He's someone who can play defense the entire game and not have to score 30, and he thinks he had a good game. But Batman don't do that. They don't feel that way. They can't just play defense the whole game.
Bruce Wayne's put the team on their back no matter what.
Yes. And the thing is, I bring it up all the time. In the finals, Kobe had a bad game. Shooting, he had 18 rebounds. That's what Batmans do. And Jimmy, if he has a bad shooting night, he's just like, that's cool. I'll just pass it and play good defense. That's what Robins do. That's what you want a really, really good Robin to do. And unfortunately, a lot of these teams they have Robins that can't be satisfied with just doing that. So yeah, man, I think Jimmy's a great
I hate that
guy.
To me, it's entirely by choice.
It could be by choice. It can look by choice and not be at times. Like, I think it looks by choice because you see the times where it's easy. But I also think that sometimes for him to play well, it requires so much participation by the rest of the team to commit to this is Jimmy's game kind of thing. In this series, it would seem like guys would just say, all right, I'm just spotting up. We're going to pass the ball. We're just going to give it to Jimmy and get out the way. I guess to your point, it's by choice because he doesn't command the ball ever, even when he's having good games. Right?
Like, Spoelstra has to yell at the team to commit to feeding him the ball sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess
other times Spoelstra's out of his mind too, because he's like, all right, we'll just keep going to Strus all day.
Yeah, maybe Spoelstra's the reason he looks like that. But he was a great number 2 on Philly. Great.
That's where
next season that team is probably winning a championship.
And I saw a lot of people talking about this after the Philly series.
Uh-huh.
It really is a shame that him and Embiid didn't get to run it back.
Yeah. I want to say, go ahead.
That would have just been an insane duo.
Perfect.
That would have been
like a trio. Perfect
the most
trio.
Ideal situation Jimmy Butler could possibly be in basketball wise.
And if you feel that way, you have to feel that he's a Robin to me. If you think him playing with Embiid is ideal.
But that's because Embiid is so great. Like, you put him with LeBron, I would say the same thing. I'd say the same thing if he was with Giannis. To me, it's the problem with Butler is he's so good that only a couple guys in the league would be true Batmans with him there.
Just tell me who wouldn't be. If Bradley Beal and Jimmy Butler played together, who would be Batman?
Jimmy Butler.
Okay.
There's no, with the exception of Donovan and John Morant,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if anybody else would be a Batman with Jimmy there.
Wait,
Steph
what do you
wouldn't
mean?
be Ja would be a Batman with Jimmy Butler there.
Well, you said LeBron and Giannis.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a couple guys in the league.
Oh, you're saying other than Embiid, LeBron, Giannis,
Yeah.
Donovan, and Ja?
Those are the two guards I could think of. That's really it for guards.
Oh, okay. Guards. Gotcha.
Like Trey, there's no way. Trey, no way.
Trey just led the league in scoring.
Yeah, but that's because he's playing with scrubs.
Trey would be Batman.
Bro, Jimmy Butler compared to those guys are fucking nothing compared to Jimmy Butler.
I feel that way too, skill-wise. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Yes,
yeah,
I think Jimmy Butler would be the best player on a lot of teams, but he may not be the go-to guy on every team. I think he could be the best player on the team and not necessarily be the first option, kind of how he is on this team. And it would be more successful if there was another really, really good player that, even if they're not necessarily better than him, are always the number one option, like Trey. I think Jimmy and Trey would play great together, but Trey would take more shots. Trey would probably average more points, and he probably would still average double-digit assists. Jimmy would still put in his 22 points a game, whatever, something like that.
It's really sick that Philly lost Jimmy, and can't remember exactly how much of it was Philly, how much of it was him. But to turn around after that and pay Tobias as much as they did was just not it, bro. Like,
real quick,
I'll give you a pass on the Ben Simmons shit because I didn't know it would turn to this. But
right,
Tobias, I could have told you that was a bad deal.
Real quick, Miami kind of made it to this finals playing a lot of hobbled teams, I would say. Not that I don't think Atlanta would have beaten them, but John Collins was obviously hurt the entire series. Capella he missed 2 or 3 games in the series. Embiid missed the first 2 games. Was obviously still hurt. He got thumb surgery this weekend. And so obviously he was hurt that entire series. And then they go against Boston, who was by far, it was really the only healthy team that they played. And obviously, not saying that is that big of a deal because they still took Boston to 7. But I'm saying this stretch, this playoff run that they had, people forget that the teams they played were, their best players, second best player on Atlanta, first best player on Philly.
You're such a Miami hater, bro. Because I could trash the Warriors the same way. Who had an easier first round than the Warriors?
An easier first round
than the Warriors.
Miami.
You're right. You're right. You're right. That's the only one. Boston made it easier, but that was by force.
Yeah.
But no, now, but Boston, seriously though. But seriously, Denver has got their only one of their 3 great players.
But the MVP was out there. And
John Morant, if John Morant finishes the series, that probably goes 7.
I'm not denying that. I'm not saying that Miami had the easiest stretch in the playoffs. I'm not saying that. I was just saying that Boston was the most healthy team they played. That's all I'm saying. Boston be the most healthy team the Warriors played too.
And to be honest with you, Boston deserves this because how many playoff runs have they had with going up against somebody who's healthy while they're not?
Right. And I was going to segue into that. Boston, they beat Brooklyn in 4. They beat Milwaukee, the defending champs, and they were hurt. Middleton was out, but to me, Middleton missing games isn't like
you still beat. You beat the best player in the league.
Yeah.
I'll never just like that's. I'm not going to discredit that.
Right. They beat two out of the top 5, 3 out of the top 15 players in the league in the first 2 rounds. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Again,
And they were healthy.
To me, these are the 2 most deserving best teams to come out of the conference I could think of in a while.
I want to circle back to Udoka's year this season. Fantastic year. And one thing I think is really impressive, and people don't bring this up, when comparing him to Steve Kerr, Nick Nurse, Ty Lue, all those guys had really good coaches the year before they got there. Warriors were on track to the finals the year before Kerr got there. Some injuries took them out of, their chance to make it to the finals. They were a contender the year before he got there. Maybe not like the strong contender, but they look like, oh, the Warriors could do this. And then some injuries took them out of it. Toronto was LeBron away from being in the finals before Nick Nurse got there.
Dwayne Casey had them going.
Yeah, they were straight. Honestly, if LeBron had left and Dwayne Casey was still there, Toronto was still going to the finals.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. Even with DeRozan there, they still were probably going to the finals. So, and then who was the other one I said?
Kerr.
Was that it? Kerr, Nurse?
No, Ty Lue.
Ty Lue. The Cavs, they were in the finals.
Yeah, they were in the finals.
So I mean, this Boston team they've been knocking on the door. I'm not saying that they couldn't ever go to the finals. With Kyrie, I believe they could have went to the finals, but they've been knocking on the door. They've been getting beat. No one could figure out why they can't make it. They seem so immature before, and we've dogged Brad Stevens as a coach for the last 2 years. At least I have. And
mostly you.
I
haven't.
Udoka came. You did the last year, just the last year.
Yeah.
Udoka came in and turned the team into finals team that has made it through such great teams. Every time they got up to a really great team, Boston got beat every year. They beat the teams they're supposed to beat, and then when it's time for the actual good matchup for them, they would lose. So that's something that I think is really impressive. Udoka's done to get to these finals. I think people are comparing him to Nurse and Kerr and how do I keep forgetting Ty Lue and Ty Lue, but all of them had these great foundations built before they took over, and Boston was not a good foundation. Everyone in the league agreed.
Boston was good talent, not a good foundation.
Exactly.
And he put that talent together. I do think Kerr had to do more of that than people give him credit for.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like you said, the Warriors were so complete, so ready.
They were ready.
Boston was not ready.
They weren't. And the Warriors, before Kerr got there, Clay and Steph were already considered the best shooting.
Yeah.
Mark Jackson is the one who called them the best shooting backcourt ever. And people were like, what? What are you talking about? He was the one who called him that. So it wasn't like all of a sudden they were like, oh, these guys could really shoot when Kerr got there.
8 years later, apparently Mark Jackson still can't get a job.
Right. Yeah. Anyway. Man.
I think Udoka probably deserves. I think he deserves more credit than Brown or Tatum or Smart. Any individual Boston player. I've seen the flashes of what we're seeing now.
Yeah.
To me, maybe Tatum, like the year in totality, I would say he's developed a lot.
Yeah.
But Udoka pressed every right button on this team. I
agree. Even Horford.
Every single one at like the best moments too.
Yeah.
And so many times this team lost big series games and could have collapsed and didn't.
Yeah. Absolutely. Definitely. Very, very strong team. Strong-minded team this season. Udoka definitely changed their mindset, their mentality. They are
really they showed the stat after the game or towards the end of the game that he hadn't lost a back-to-back game the whole run. I mean, back-to-back 7-game series, and you don't lose back-to-back once.
Right.
So that's really impressive.
It is. Absolutely is. So, do we have anything else before we get into the finals?
No, man, Miami run it back. That's it.
Miami. We'll see. I
Hopefully,
wouldn't be
I
surprised if something
pray.
crazy happened with them.
I
If they did
pray they
something really
keep
insane.
Oladipo. I pray.
I hope they let Oladipo go. I want to see Oladipo blossom somewhere. Bro, if they keep Oladipo, he's gonna be seventh man.
And eating.
No.
Kill it. Him and Harrow, the best bench duo in the league.
A former all-star, still kind of in his age-wise, still in his prime, seventh man. No.
Bro, he was out for 2 years.
So was Clay. And he's starting.
But Clay took his sweet ass time coming back. Oladipo, it's not like Clay had an injury, got healthy. He had an unfortunate another injury right after getting healthy. We weren't even sure if Oladipo would ever get healthy again.
I thought Oladipo would get healthy, man.
Bro, we didn't even know what happened to him. How many times did we talk about Miami? And look, yo, we were in January, February, like, yo, is Oladipo coming back? What's going on? Like, is he gonna play? Is he healthy? Where is he?
But he looks like he's been healthy all this time and just hasn't been playing. That's why it looks like they took their time with him, because he apparently wasn't healthy, and he comes back and he's forcing 5 turnovers off Jaylen Brown, strips, and looks like the most athletic player in the gym again.
Hey, I'm not gonna. That's the league forgetting how good he was.
No, but I'm saying your first game back. I mean, Clay's first game back, he dunked on the whole Cavs team. That was impressive. But like you said, it's because he took his time coming back. He probably has been ready to play. Yeah. Oladipo, he comes out and he automatically looked like the most athletic player on the court.
But again, like,
and apparently he wasn't ready.
I don't remember what the injury was, if it was his hip or his calf. It was like
never very clear about it. There was no clarity about it at all.
But it was something that like wasn't fixed properly.
Yeah.
So to me, those situations are always dangerous. And Miami being as complete as they are, they had no need to rush him back.
Well, the point was, I think he was healthy long before he came back. And yeah, they didn't need to rush him back. They were the number 1 seed. There's no reason to play him if they didn't have to. But they did, and he looks great. So I don't think I think maybe not playing him could have been strategy to try to keep him, because now other teams have only seen him play 3 games to know, 6 games.
If they throw him out there like Dallas did with Brunson, he probably would have did similar things.
That's what I'm saying.
But I'll take a step back. I'm just happy. I really don't care where Oladipo's playing. I just want to see him on the court.
Oladipo, go get your money, man. Go be happy somewhere.
For sure.
Go be the star player.
For sure. Again. Just not like Sacramento or Orlando. I mean, he's not going to go back to Orlando, but
no,
just, pick a decent team.
Don't go back to Indiana either. No way. They're done.
Oh, come to Toronto. Toronto is ready.
Nuts. That would be nuts. Him in Toronto. Oladipo is one of those guys that really could help every team. He really could. Him and Dame would be nice. That would be interesting, fun to watch.
He would go off with Luka.
I know, yeah. That was the second team I thought of, Dallas.
I'll say there is. I think Phoenix doesn't need him.
They don't need him, but it wouldn't hurt.
I'm not sure he helps, but he doesn't make them better to me.
Yeah, that's true.
Every other team, I think he makes better, at least slightly.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Okay. Finals preview. Let's get it. What is it going to take for these teams, for each team to win? Let's start with Boston, since we've been talking about Boston this whole time.
You know what? They have to dominate inside.
Yeah.
I watched And obviously Dallas isn't very good, but when you allow Warriors to look big, and they're not, they don't really fool people into thinking they're big. They just rebound.
Yeah.
They rebound. They're aggressive. They're physical. They can't dominate in those categories.
Right.
Like, you have to punctuate the fact that you have Robert Williams, Al Horford, you got Grant Williams, Brown is an inside, could be an inside player. You have to control the basket.
Yeah.
That to me, because if you fall in love playing Warriors basketball, jumpers back and forth, everyone's moving the ball, like two teams are playing good basketball, yet only the Warriors are scoring for some reason,
not gonna win.
You're losing. And you're probably losing quick.
Yeah, I think you hit it perfectly, man. For me, I mean, it's be big. They have to be big. We can't have Horford out here just like trying to guard wings and not doing anything on the offensive end. They have to make Looney and Draymond work the entire game. I think one thing I was thinking of was how can they use their physicality in this game with the Warriors? Because the Warriors are a team where your physicality really doesn't matter because they don't try to bang inside. They don't try to post up. They don't try to really play you by being physical like Miami often does. So they have to use their IQ, defensive IQ in this series, big time. Be ready to run. They have to be ready. Because for me, on the Warriors end, it's being quick. They have to be quick. I think that's
man, Boston has and the Warriors just demolish teams that do this. Boston has the missed layup epidemic.
Yeah.
Boston misses a lot of layups. And what's worse, you were talking about it, guys are on the floor after they miss layups.
If you let the Warriors play 5-on-4, you're gonna lose.
You're done. You're done, dude. You're not even making it to game 6.
See, and this is why I say they have to use their physicality in a positive way. They have to be strong going to the basket.
Yeah.
They have to not foul, but be physical when the Warriors do drive. They have to use their physicality constructively, or else.
Yeah. And you got to put pressure. Like, the Warriors have looked deep all playoffs, and they're not. But the problem is nobody's capable of exposing that except finally Boston.
Yeah, because Warriors will play 9, Boston will play 6 or 7, and the two end of the Warriors 9 will not help them against Boston at all.
Yeah. But my thing, there's so much to do when you're physical. Now you're putting pressure on Draymond to get in foul trouble. You making the Warriors, go to guys work way harder.
Yeah.
You're just putting yourself, you still might not win the series. But if you're not the more physical team, you're not even going to put yourself in a good chance.
Right. Yeah. Also limiting turnovers, man. I think, and
I could say that for both teams.
I was going to say some people on ESPN have been hitting this. The team with the most turnovers in this series will probably be the team that loses the series. It's plain and simple.
I'm curious who's going to be turning the ball over. Like, is it going to be collective issues? Is it going to be specific guys again? Both teams have done it different, like in different ways.
That's what makes it a little bit dangerous because who turns the ball over on Golden State. It's Draymond, it's Poole, it's Steph. They're the turnover guys. And the thing is, because they're like the designated turnover guys, I think the team is ready for it when it happens. Boston, no one on Boston should be turning the ball over, but it's always someone different. They find it a different way every game. Like, look, Tatum has 7. And the thing is, even when Draymond, Steph, and Poole do it, they may all have 3 or 4. Maybe Draymond has 5. But Jason and Jalen, man, 7, 8, 6, 5 in one quarter.
That shit
Like
is
that.
that's tough.
And the thing is, man, let's transition to the Warriors. What it takes for them to win, they have to convert on fast breaks. They have to. I Wiggins and Steph and Poole have to get out on breaks, and they have to score on breaks. Because if they don't score on breaks, I think they're gonna have a hard time. I shouldn't say hard time, but a more difficult than necessary time getting easy buckets, especially in half court. There's not a lot of easy buckets on Boston. It just isn't, especially if Looney's going to stay in the paint. You got Robert Williams and Horford, who are both devastating shot blockers, just waiting. There's no easy buckets there.
I do think the Warriors offense is a lot more consistent.
It is.
So like even if it's defended well, we still have a better idea of what we're going to see from them.
Yeah.
Where with the Celtics, they'll look like the Warriors aren't even in their league, and then the next game they'll look like they're not in the Warriors league.
The next quarter they might. Not even the next game. They did it in Miami this whole series. Yeah.
I'm my heart wants Boston to win this series. Yeah. But everything in my basketball brain tells me that it's going to be Golden State.
This series, I think, because both of these teams are so good, I think it's a complete toss-up. I would be really happy with either of these teams winning. I think Golden State winning, Steph getting another championship. I love this dynasty. This is probably my favorite dynasty. And obviously, because I'm living through it and I'm in, my prime age watching it, one of my favorite dynasties ever to watch. It probably is the first actual dynasty of our lifetimes. And I mean, the Splash Brothers.
I think 4 years for Miami.
No, not if you lose 2.
Yeah, 2 and 2, but you're 4 straight finals. That's a dynasty to me.
It's not. I think it's not a dynasty because it was like a light switch how they got
Abrupt.
Together.
Yeah.
It was. Warriors went from getting close, some injuries they lost. Next year we're there. Injuries we lost. We're there. That kind of thing. I think the consistency, you got to do it for more than 4, I think. Yeah, I think you got to do it for more than 4. Otherwise, the Cavs would be a dynasty too. LeBron's Cavs team.
Yeah, I'll give you that. And you know what's so great about both of these teams? And I think a lot of people in basketball are rooting for both of these teams because they have been patient. They've built the team. They've committed to draft picks. They've developed draft picks. They've trusted draft picks. And they've made slight moves, whether it's in the offseason or in midseason, to just improve the team.
I mean, what was it? 10 out of the 17 players were G League players.
That is
Warriors.
That is insanity.
Insanity, man. 10 out of 17.
Some of the greatest. That is one of the greatest player development performances in the history of the sport.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's unimaginable. I mean, you and I root for organizations that we don't have good faith in.
Right.
So we deal with the fact that, I mean, I can't tell you how many fucking years I've sat there looking at draft picks yo, who is this guy? And then 2 months into the season, I'm like, what happened to so-and-so? Oh, he's out of the fucking league because he sucks.
Right.
Or it's even worse. It's a guy who is kind of good enough to be in the league, but because the organization has no direction, we have no clue what his role is, how he's developing, what the idea for him is. That is just a guy who's hot and cold for a number of years.
Yeah. I was worried about that with Moody when the Warriors got Moody, and I should have had more faith in them. But I thought it was kind of odd. They got him. I don't really know what position he plays. I don't really know how tall he is. He looks like a different height for some reason every time I see him play throughout this season. But yet they stuck with him, man. And then he's gotten great minutes. I mean, in these playoffs and has looked good. But earlier this season, I was like, oh wow, they had another pick, so they just had to get somebody. He'll be gone. But I mean, they stuck with him, man, and he's gotten better as the season has went on. And that's what a good team does. They stick with these guys, man.
Yeah.
But you're right. I've seen it a bunch of
Boston's
times.
the same way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Boston could have easily packaged Jaylen Brown for like a massive overhaul.
Yeah.
Easily.
And every time they get a piece that they think is going to fit a veteran piece, they end up trading it for something younger, and it works out better.
Yeah.
Like we've seen it 3 times now. They had Hayward, Kemba. They trade these guys for a younger piece. Schroeder traded for a younger piece, and it's worked out for the better every time.
And you know what they've done, at least the last year or two, is they've trusted the right role players. Like if you had told me that Boston would have given up on Carson Edwards as he was coming out versus that they would buy into Peyton Pritchard to where he would be beating Milwaukee in games, essentially.
Yeah.
I would have laughed.
Yeah, me too.
They made the right call.
Even that kid they had, Tremont Waters, he came in and was like fantastic for them in certain games that one season. And if you told me that, next year he's just gonna maybe be out of the league and they're gonna go for Pritchard instead.
But how many guys? I know. And how many guys have they tried to plug in as like the corner specialist just to stay out of the way for Brown and Tatum?
Yeah.
And none of them worked. But Grant
Except
Williams
they
stuck with.
Yep, their actual draft pick.
Boom. And now he just literally won you a series the round before.
Yep. Yep. So tell me more about what the Warriors need to do. Who do you think needs to have the biggest games for the Warriors?
And you practically read my mind, because for me the key to winning this series for the Warriors is Steph and Poole can't be awful.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
That's it.
Clay, keep doing what you're doing. Wiggins, keep doing what you're doing. Draymond, maybe take it down a notch with the turnovers, just like a single notch.
Mm-hmm.
Steph just can't be awful.
I like how Draymond played in the last Mavericks game. I don't remember if we talked about that or not.
I don't think so, because the series wasn't done last time we went.
Yeah, Mavericks won that next game. Yeah, we didn't. Right. We're not going to talk about it though. But Draymond looked really good in that last game. Very focused. Back against the wall. Play good. Yeah. I completely agree. It's Poole and Steph to me as well. I think Wiggins keep doing what he's doing. Maybe a bigger ask than it seems.
Boston got a lot of threats. It's one thing to key in on a guy and like focus on a matchup. You getting switched out on Tatum and Brown, who take completely different shots, and then like Smart will attack you like he's those guys. You'll throw you off with that. Then Horford, all this. They got a lot of threats in Boston.
I think what's dangerous for Golden State is that Poole and Steph. Smart is the only player that can guard either of them. Like Derek White cannot guard Poole. I think we'll see that.
I think Brown could guard Poole.
He can guard Poole, but I just don't think he would be. I mean, like just from like the point guard spot.
Yeah.
He might. I guess he might if Steph and Poole are out there at the same time. Maybe Jalen would be on him, but I still think that's tough. It's tough because Poole might get him in foul trouble. But I think Wiggins has to use his athleticism in this series. He can't just be 3-and-D in this series.
He can't be Grant Williams. He can't do that. No,
he can't. Right, he can't be a 3-and-D guy for them. He can't be like what Otto Porter does for them, just rebounds and threes. We need We need some dunks. We need him to get out on breaks and challenge guys that try to stop him on breaks. We need him to be able to get into the shot of Tatum and Brown. They need all of the things that makes Andrew Wiggins a pristine athlete. They need all of that in this series for sure. But like you said, he's been doing that this whole Maverick series. So I would expect him to be ready to keep doing that. But we've seen him, come and go throughout this series, throughout this season, I should say.
I don't think that any of those guys decide, like, to me, they could overcome Clay shooting poorly, and they'll obviously be better if Clay shoots great. Same thing, like they could overcome Wiggins not being involved. They could even overcome their supporting cast not really playing well. I haven't seen them overcome games when Poole's not playing well. And Steph,
very
same
few,
thing.
very few.
During the year they could do it, but in the playoffs, like they've been very dependent on sustaining good offense.
Yeah, I think when Poole doesn't play good, Steph plays. It's because Steph was playing good, and they just didn't need Poole to be too aggressive, and vice versa. So, any game they're gonna need at least one of them. Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. And then also Looney has to keep doing what he was doing this whole Mavs series, which is be the best center he can be.
And this is going to be a lot harder this round.
It is, absolutely. And he might not, but I think he'll still get looks because I think off the screens, Boston's going to want to switch, and Robert Williams goes for every single block. I mean, you could look up at the basket and Robert Williams is going to jump every time. He
wants that shit, yeah.
Every time. And that's how Looney gets open a lot of times. They make the quick switch. Steph does a pump fake and bounce passes it right to Robert Williams wide open, Yeah. I could see something like that happen a few times, but the rebounds he was getting, that might not happen. Him being physical inside probably is not going to work in his favor this time. So we'll see how that goes too. Do you want to call it your prediction?
You know what else I'm curious real quick about is how many games will Gary Payton have to play?
He's supposed to be 100%.
Is he ready for game 1?
Yeah, apparently.
And he has an impact, but it's not like a crazy impact.
Yeah.
If Iguodala plays and he's healthy, then Boston might be in trouble.
I haven't read anything today, but from what I read in the end of last series, Peyton and Iggy will be ready for game 1 of this series. I think Porter was going to be questionable, but Peyton and Iggy were like for sure. I saw a film of Peyton in full practice today.
Okay.
So I think he's going to be ready. I think he makes a big difference with them getting fast breaks, getting turnovers. He's someone who forces turnovers. Very good defender. Smart defender, and he finishes on every break. So I think that's going to be big. I think Warriors have to get all the easy baskets. He was, yeah, absolutely. I think if Porter comes back, he helps them with size, but I'm not sure if he is. And, I don't think it necessarily hurts them, him not coming back, but him coming back only helps, I think.
Isn't it weird? I didn't hear shit about Iguodala all playoffs, and now all of a sudden he's ready.
I heard in the last series them saying
was he day to day at that point? Okay.
No, he wasn't day to day. He wasn't even dressed in the games. I think they were just saying that they were hoping that they would finish the series early so they could have him back.
I did see them. They were very happy to get the extra rest.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I'm not sure. I mean, he helps on defense too, of course. I hope that they don't come in there fouling the Celtics.
You know what's funny is the Warriors and Boston have shown that you can overcome like glaring flaws.
Yeah.
because the Warriors never fixed their center problem.
No, they didn't. We talked about
Boston
it
never
all
fixed
season.
their point guard problem.
We talked about it all season. Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah.
So this is a wake-up call to all the teams who aren't good enough that, like, you can be.
And the thing is, they're both really good at something. You know, Boston is really good at defense. The Warriors are really good at moving the ball. And, you know, they work around their flaw. Like you said, they can overcome the flaws. Warriors have a number 1 pick or number 2 pick, whatever, on the bench, you know, not ready to play. And it's their center, would be their starting center.
Golden State has home court, right? It was crazy, by the way, that Golden State had home court regardless, even though they were the 3rd seed.
Yeah.
That's really crazy how Phoenix, Memphis, and Golden State just ran out ahead of everybody in the standings.
Yeah. Yep. Because Golden State was number 1 for a while.
Yeah.
Before
number 2 for a while too.
Yeah.
I'll make the pick. Golden State in 7.
7?
Boston is too good to lose in anything less than that, in my opinion.
I'll say 6. Golden State in 6.
I think they're going to Boston and getting them out of there. I mean, the way this last series went, I wouldn't be surprised.
I think they win at least 1 in Boston.
I think they're going to trade him off, just like Boston's been doing. I think the Warriors will make the crucial plays that Giannis and company and Jimmy and company just couldn't.
So wait. At home or away?
At home.
You're saying
7.
you think Boston wins in Golden State?
No. I think Golden State wins in 7.
No. I mean, you think Boston takes some games in San Francisco?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think game 7 it'll probably matter, but besides that, I don't think home court will decide any games.
I think if it's gonna decide a game for somebody, it'll be for Golden State.
Yeah.
I mean, like I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Boston will have more trouble winning in Golden State, and if someone is gonna lose at home, it'll be Boston.
Yeah.
That's why I say 6. But I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 7, and I will obviously enjoy it.
I will be rooting for Boston. I tell you, just because their road to get here was so eternal.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I predicted them to win the East the year before this past one.
I think we both did.
Because I was like a fucking year early on Brown and Tatum, like really taking the team to the next heights.
Bro, I was with you. You know, I've been saying for years they have my favorite 6 in the league. Yeah. I thought for sure they would eventually figure it out, but I hoped Kimba would be there, maybe. But yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, I was with you because, I've been on the Jaylen Brown train. We've been on the same Jaylen Brown. I'm not going to bring it up here because we'll be talking about it again. But, we talked about it the other day. I feel the same way. I feel like those guys are elite.
Yeah. I
don't really care if they win a championship, though. It would be cool. I think them getting here was cool enough.
I'm worried if Tatum gets a championship, they're gonna start really hyping the fuck out of him.
They are.
Like Morant, Morant's hype is the same way, where it went from, he's top player in the league. Oh my God, Morant is the face of the basketball.
Morant is the new Iverson. He's the new.
Yeah. You see,
he's better than Derrick Rose, and Derrick Rose's MVP year. They were doing all kinds of stuff.
Okay, bro, you wore a band. It was it was a nice tribute. You even hit the fucking jab move on Jimmy the one time that looks sick.
Yeah.
But I don't want to hear that shit if they win the fucking finals. And you know what I'm talking about.
You will. If they do, I mean,
especially if he plays well. Yeah, if he plays well, for sure.
If he plays well and he hits at least one fadeaway, they're gonna say it, and I'm not gonna repeat it. I'm not gonna even think
I do
about it, but they're
hope
gonna
I
say it.
need a game winner in this series, at least in one game
From Tatum.
from anyone.
Okay, yeah.
I want like a real like a key shot to decide how the series goes.
How many blowouts in this series?
A minimum of 3. Minimum.
I'll say yeah, I'll say 3 too. Yeah.
And if it's straight blowouts like Miami, the series of Miami almost was,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be really mad at Boston because that means they really could have gone 16-0.
Boston, I don't think Boston's gonna have any blowouts. I'll say that. That might be a hot take, but
How
I don't
you
think they're
go from
gonna blow out.
disrespecting Miami to disrespecting Boston, bro?
What do you mean?
They're definitely gonna blow them out once. No blowouts?
None. Bro,
None?
Miami came back down. I mean, had an 11-0 run in 1 minute. What can the Warriors do with 1 minute?
Golden
If Boston
State
isn't
lost.
scoring, huh?
Bro, Golden State before going to the conference finals lost by a historic margin.
It's okay. Happens.
It's not that like that was a weakness for them. It's that if they're up 3-1 or 2-0, they're prone to taking a game off.
Boston doesn't play like Memphis. They don't play that nonstop at your throat. Like they don't have games where they just like go bananas like that often. Not against like really good teams.
Okay.
Not often.
We'll see.
If it is, it'll be like because Grant Williams hit 7 threes.
I think Boston's whole playoff run to me is them being way better than who they're playing and way worse than who they're playing.
Oh, yeah. Might be.
So I think we're gonna get a lot of that.
We'll see.
But Golden State is significantly better than anybody they've played. But
yeah.
I could say the same thing the other way.
I don't think.
Yeah, I know Memphis seems good, but no.
You knew I was gonna say Memphis.
I mean, who else?
Obviously, they're better than Dallas. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Denver. Yeah. Okay. I think that's enough for today. Unless you have anything else you want to touch on.
No, man, I'm hyped about these finals. I can't wait. I'm mad. We had to. I know it normally is like this, but I wish they would have just went straight to fucking game 1.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
I remember when
I'm ready right now.
I think if I remember correctly, it was 2013. The Spurs or Miami survives. Or maybe the Spurs survive, but remember the game Tony Parker hit the crazy like up and under on LeBron?
Yeah.
The game 1, I believe one of those teams had a really tough series prior and then went straight to the finals like a day later.
I think it was San Antonio.
I forgot. Was it OKC who they beat in 7?
Yeah, I think it was.
Is that it? Okay.
Because OKC
that was
OKC was in the finals the year before, and then the next season they didn't. I mean, the Spurs beat them the next season, I think.
Yeah,
could be wrong though, but
I don't remember. I do remember just one of those teams came into the finals with no rest.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah. Okay. Well, we will be back after game 2, probably. See how it goes, man. Yeah. First 2 games in Golden State. You think Golden State takes them both?
No.
Okay.
I'll make a hot take right now. I think Boston destroys them game 1.
My brain agrees with you. I just don't want it to happen, but I think I agree. Yeah. I don't want it to happen, but I've been feeling the last 2 days.
I'm not sure Golden State is ready for the talent Boston has right away.
They've been waiting though, man. They've been
Draymond
resting.
Draymond was telling us he's ready. We'll see.
I think Draymond's gonna play like garbage the first game. I think Draymond would be the worst player on the court in the first game.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
dead
not a hot
serious.
take at all.
No, it's not. I have a feeling he's gonna come out
Uh,
so flat.
I can't wait. Draymond and Smart are just, I'm so happy they're both in the finals because we're going to see some wild shit from both of them.
Yeah, yeah. I think we're gonna be impressed by the Warriors' defense this series. Also, that's my last prediction here. I think the Warriors'
I'll
defense is
remember
gonna
that.
shock us.
I'll definitely remember that.
It's a hot take. I'll acknowledge.
Yeah, it's
But I do
very,
think they're
very
gonna play
high.
the D. Anyway, thanks for listening as always. We'll be back after game 2. Please subscribe, follow us, share, all the good stuff. And we'll see you guys next time.